Today we will discuss character of Captain Nemo as a mad scientist. Pursuit of knowledge is not individualistic and should be for the collective welfare of the community. Humans are social beings, and as such, shared conventions and unarticulated laws and moral boundaries are needed to keep them in check. Right from the biblical caution of fall of humans to the myths of Hiranyakashipu in Hindu myths, message is given that knowledge should not be used for the misanthropic purpose, and at times it makes sense to know when to stop. Greek myth of Icarus and his fall also hint that balance between flying too high or too low is the best way for humans. Discipline of science per se is based on the spirit of knowing more, finding more, and proving more. Spirit of inquisitiveness is essential if undiscovered truths are to be chased and disclosed. If scientists would have been happy with what was available, we would not have reached where we are today. Sometimes inventions are not bad in themselves, but the evil mindset of some people turn these inventions into the destructive finds. Many inventions have been chance discoveries and byproduct on some other experiments. To caution humanity on the judicious use of knowledge, archetypes of mad scientists are created in literature. Frankenstein, Dr. Faustus, time traveler of time machine, Edmond Dantes, and Jean Valjean and Captain Nemo are some examples of mad scientists. Mad scientists are portrayed as focused and relentless in pursuit of some discovery, eccentric, and sometimes arrogant. They replace themselves with or equate themselves with God. They are often found to focus on the vendetta, and thus their inventions are used for the negative purpose. They are governed by the singularity of purpose and generally lose their hold from the world around them. Dangerous overconfidence characterizes them, and they are daredevils. Jules Verne was a French novelist who wrote scientific fiction. He was prophetic in his imagination, and many of his imaginary inventions later on became reality. He was a lawyer by profession and also tried his luck with stock exchange. But his stay in Paris and his close contact with Alexandre Dumas motivated him to turn to fiction. His early science novels were plotted around travels, but in the later phase of his career, he saw the horrors of the war and passed through many personal crises, which made him change his stance to science, and his voice became more of a caution against the unrestricted use of science. Creation of character of Captain Nemo in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea brought a debate of whether Nemo was more sinned against than sinning. The novel set in the genre of steampunk was written in 1870 and referred to the distance traveled while under the sea and not the depth, as 20,000 leagues is over 6 times the diameter of Earth. The narrator in the novel is Professor Aronnax, a noted French marine biologist. He, along with his Canadian harpoonist Ned Land and Aronnax's faithful servant Khonshi, are captured in a mysterious sea vessel, which they had mistaken as a whale. Here, they meet the enigmatic character of Captain Nemo, who has created a marvelous ship that could stay beneath the water. To lend air of credibility to his novel as well as to Captain Nemo, Verne elaborates on the fictional technology that propels the ship. As the captives tries to voice their anguish and revolt against their imprisonment, one gets the chance to develop the shades of Captain Nemo's character. Nemo has a lot of knowledge, but he wants to keep secrets of his ship and his resources to him only. He could have shared this wonder to the world, but he prefers to keep knowledge to himself. In the sequel to this novel, we see the tragic end to both. Many critics have defended Nemo that he was an anti-imperialist. Even if he was so, then also, he could have lent his knowledge and resources to the oppressed people. Nemo, from all angles, seems to be an enigmatic personality. The word Nemo is Latin for no one and Greek for I give what is due, which in a way is nemesis. He tries to project a stern and controlled confidence, but also is driven by thirst for vengeance and hatred of imperialism, more targeted to British Empire, and often wrecked by remorse over the death of his crew member and even the deaths of his enemies' soldiers. Aronnax calls him Archangel of Hate. However, this is his opinion. Nemo has empathy for the oppressed and he works well with his crew. He avoids dry land, having forsworn all ties with it. And when he does step on a land, he does so only when the land is uninhabited, such as Antarctica or the desert islands such as Lincoln Island of the Mysterious Island later on. This makes him a diasporic person too. He believes that true freedom exists only beneath the waves. However, his own concept of freedom is an oppression for the captives. When they challenge him, he defines freedom like this. I quote, "Why? The freedom to come, go, see, and even closely observe everything happening here, except under certain circumstances. In short, the freedom we ourselves enjoy, my companions and I." Unquote. Nemo's self-imposed exile is in stark contrast to the unlimited freedom he gets. Existential dilemma of whether man is condemned to be free or privileged to be free is a point of discussion here. His hubris comes out when he says, "I am the law, I am the justice." We immediately remember Edmond Dante's excuse, "I have been heaven's substitute to recompensate the good. Now the God of vengeance yields me to his power to punish the wicked." In short, the more we read about Captain Nemo in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the more we are made to think whether he was right in his pursuit of vengeance or whether he was a mad scientist. Thank you.